This is Chelsea Mercer, and it's Friday, May 23rd. You're listening to 99.9 WSTY Radio, Chicago's favorite talk show programming. Have a great day, Chicago. It is 6:58 a.m., so we are about to transition over into the weekly psychology segment hosted by our two favorite psychologists, Dr. Nikolas Merten and Dr. Anthony Solis.
Hello, I'm Philip Zimbardo.
No you're not.
You're right. I'm Tony Solis, and we will be talking about the two different hemispheres today.
The effect that the dominant hemisphere has on a person.
This time on
Discovering Psychology. So we will be...
What are you doing?
Talking?
No. I do the talking, buddy.
Alright, so then what am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Go to the corner and look pretty?
I don't think so.
The question of the century. Who is better, boys or girls?
Well, I'm pretty sure that that's not the question.
You're right. If we give our honest opinion on that question, all the girls in the class will crucify us.
Alright, I think the real question is, can we focus?
Yes, of course.
I'll begin. The question of the century: how is our cognition and creativity affected by our dominant hemispheres?
So, what does that mean, pal?
Well, Mr. Solis, it means we want to know how left-brain people differ from right-brain people.
Okay. So, according to research conducted by Terence Hines from Pace University, the difference in cognition and creativity is so small that it could be considered non-existent.
So some people might say that we can just completely ignore it then.
Certainly not. Hines clearly states that there's a difference in cognition for the different hemispheres, but he claims that it isn't as large as people assume.
Alright, so what does that mean?
Well, my friend, that's a great question. What Hines means is that everyone thinks that all left-handed people...
Wait, so that's the same as right-brain people, correct?
Right. Everyone assumes right-brain people are a lot more creative and illogical than right-handed people, or left-brain people.
So, are you saying that we're all the same?
No, not exactly. Hines' research shows that left-brain people are more logical than right-brain, but the difference is so small that he states it could be ignored.
Exactly, we can't just ignore it.
Of course not. The difference is there, and lefties are more illogical than righties. But how does that affect our creativity?
Well...
Hold on. I think that before we begin, we should discuss creativity.
Yeah. Hold on. What are you telling me?
I ain't telling you nothing, boy. Mr. Vitelli, an author from the magazine Psychology Today, is.
So what exactly is he saying then?
Well, pal, what Mr. Vitelli talks about in his article is about studies done on creativity and psychopathology on geniuses who were, for the most part, left-handed.
Oh, alright. Tell me some more.
Sure. So, Mr. Vitelli talks about several studies done on the correlation between creativity and psychopathology on quote-unquote geniuses. And the research to me is interesting, but a little confusing.
Oh, how so?
Well, the research was conducted on geniuses who are no longer alive. Also, psychopathology hasn't always been a part of society, so there isn't a clear way to show the correlation. And creativity is extremely controversial, and no one has ever had a clear definition of it.
What do you mean they don't have a clear definition?
Well, what it means is that I think we can't really show the difference between creativity in left-brain people and right-brain people, because everyone has different views on what creativity means.
Oh, right, of course.
So, although there's differences in being illogical and illogical between the different brain people, there isn't a clear way to compare them to each other.
Well, I do know some biopsychology that could support the idea that there's a cognitive difference among different brain people.
That's so interesting. Please do share.
Well, neuroscientists have concluded that being able to have the most equal amount of balance and brain symmetry among all regions of your brain can help contribute to a better cognitive processing system.
Okay, but how does that affect our dominant hemisphere?
Well, these same neuroscientists have been able to prove that lefties or right-brained people have better brain symmetry than left-brained people. This was determined because right-brained people were able to use and utilize more of their cerebellum on their non-dominant hemisphere.
So, essentially, lefties are able to optimize more of the brain's potential?
Yep, that's pretty much what it sounds like. I've also been reading around and found a statistic on the percent number of lefties in the world. Would you like to take a guess?
Of course, I'd like to take a guess. I'm going to go ahead and say 19.26%.
You know, I guess that's sort of close. An estimated percent of lefties in the world would be around 10%.
Wow. That means that they are all living in a right-handed world.
Exactly. This poses the question. Because lefties have to live in a world where they are the minority, are they then better at adapting to change and conflict because everything isn't always made for them?
Well, I'm not sure if they're all necessarily better at overcoming adversity, because there isn't that much that they could overcome. The world today doesn't really revolve around righties.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting perspective. Others disagree with you, and they say that this small disadvantage that lefties face causes them to be better at thinking outside the box, and that this contributes to them being better divergent thinkers and creative people.
I can also see that perspective.
Is there anything else that you'd like to cover on today's segment?
Yes, actually. Research has been conducted on poverty in an urban setting.
Oh, what did this research find?
Well, they found that there are more left-handed poor people. So, does this correlation explain their social and economic situation?
Oh, I think I remember reading something about this as well. Aren't there more right-handed people in the middle class too?
Exactly. So does left-handedness actually inhibit success in the world?
I doubt it, because like you said earlier, for the most part, our hemispheres are extremely similar, dominant or not.
Yeah, that makes sense. There probably isn't enough diversity among hemispheres, hemisphere dominance to create such a difference in socioeconomic status.
Alright, well that's all on our segment today. Thanks for listening.
This segment was brought to you by Lowe's and Gatorade. Thanks for tuning in, folks.